So I'm standing in front of a model of a smart home, and that's really where we see the future of iRobot. We believe that with our robots, your home is going to get smarter and smarter, but enabled in part by the work that our robots can do. So I'm going to demonstrate our J7, which is our latest robot and probably one of our most intelligent yet. But a few things before we start. The J7 is using Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, just like the others, and also has a camera. But in this case, that camera is pointing forward. So rather than using that infrared light to return to its dock, the camera is actually looking for the QR code on the dock. And so it's using its vision technology to find its way back home. Now with that Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, we can do a bunch of things. Obviously the robot's connected to an app, and I'll get a lot of the same information that I want. Where did it clean? How did it clean? I can control it from the app. But with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, we can start to connect different smart devices in our homes. I'm sure that many people have an Alexa or a Google Home. We can start to integrate that with the Roomba and use that to start and stop the robot. We also can use our smart light bulbs, things like smart speakers, to integrate again with the robot. Now we've set up a demo that you probably wouldn't do at home, but it gives you that visual impression. So when I call this robot out and it starts cleaning, the lamp in the corner should turn red. That's an indication to me that the robot is running. When the robot's finished, it's going to go back to its dock, empty itself because it's one of those self-emptying robots, and our lamp should turn back off. And then as one other cue, I've actually asked our smart speakers to start playing music. So hopefully that demo gives you an idea of how all of those smart things can start to interact. So let's give it a try. Okay, Google, start vacuuming. So our robot comes out.
Starting JJ.
We'll see the robot begin to vacuum. It's using those cliff sensors to not fall off the edge of the platform, to know where to go. It can go under the table, under the couch. And again, you'll see that lamp turned red, which is my indicator that the robot is working. Now our robot still looks for furniture, might bounce off the furniture, but eventually it finds its way all around. While it's vacuuming, you can notice that we have one of our new air purifiers also in the room. The Aris is cleaning the air as we kind of vacuum, and it's also becoming a piece of that smart home. The Aris can begin to know whether you want it to run stronger when you're not at home, or a little bit quieter and less when you're sitting there and doing your work. So since Roomba's done a lot of its work, I'm going to tell it to go back home using the app. I can pause the robot and ask the robot to travel home. Now remember, the robot has a map, so it knows where to locate its dock. In addition, it's going to use that camera to find its way right back and onto the dock. You'll see it work to align itself and do what it needs to do. While it's doing that, the other cool thing is we've given this robot artificial intelligence. It's our first robot to do that. We've taught it what different objects look like, so it knows to avoid those objects, things like cable, like socks, things you might leave on the floor. We even taught the robot about dog poop, because if your dog has an accident, we don't want it running through. So the robot's emptied itself. It's going to tell us that it finished its mission. Once that robot is done, our lamp should turn off. And then our smart speakers start playing a song for us. So what makes a smart home a smart home? Well, a lot of it relates back to that Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, but also for us, the ability to have a map. If you think about a smart home, then things need to know what to do, when to do them, but they also need to know what they are. We've actually heard our CEO, Colin Angle, say that a robot is becoming a machine that you name. And as you all know, if you have devices in your home, in order to get them into that app, you kind of have to name them. It has to become the kitchen light or the family room TV. So we're starting to create these different synergies. The next thing the smart home needs to know is what to do and when. And so with the advent of a map, the devices start to learn, oh, this person comes home and they go into the living room. Well, if you're going in the living room, you probably want the light on. And so eventually, your smart home learns these patterns, learns your habits, and begins to do the right thing at the right time for you, all enabled by the new ability to have a map and know where things are and how to interact. So the evolution of iRobot and robotics has been an over 30-year path. As you can see behind me, the robots themselves have changed a great deal as well. We've gone through different colors, we've finessed it, now they're a lot more sleek, they belong in your home, but all of that takes a lot of different people. There are so many different careers here at iRobot and at every tech company for you to get involved, for you to explore, and also that contributes to developing all of these robots. There are just so many different careers at any tech company, and they all come together to make our robots. Different kinds of people are focused on different things. Mechanical engineers, people who like to build things, might be focused on the plastics of the robot, the structure of the robot. If you're somebody who's worried about power, LEDs, enjoys all of that, that might be electrical engineering, working on the circuit boards, things like the wiring of the robot. And then we have people who are all working in software. Software takes many different shapes. It could be the firmware on the robot, giving that robot the ability to know how to turn, how to drive. Maybe it's the software that's the brain of the robot. How does it react to different things? If it bumps into something, it needs to know to move in the other direction. We've learned that the robots are working from an app. We have people who build the app and who work on that connectivity between the robot and the app. And of course, there's people who are designing our website. We have videographers, photographers, accountants, lawyers, graphic designers, and never forget people like marketing and sales who make sure that the robots are available for our consumers. One of my most favorite and fun jobs here at iRobot, beside of course my own, is our test engineers. They're out there seeing when the robot fails. So their job might be to drop the robot, stand on the robot, feed the robot all different kinds of dirt, and make sure that the robot is doing the job that we expect it to do when it gets to your home. All of these people have to work together. They need to communicate with each other and really function as a team. But one of the things that we know is almost all of those jobs requires coding. Every job that we do has some form of coding in it. This is a little robot that we've created called the Root. And Root is a great way to learn coding. It starts with graphical coding, ends up with languages just like you might be using on a robot. If you get more advanced, we've developed the Create. And the Create allows another user to begin to program with the robot, build on top of the robot, and as you can see, it's based off of a Roomba, so you get all the smarts that a Roomba also enables you. Now I know that some people are saying, right, but if I want to be a writer or that photographer or any of those other jobs, I'm not going to need to know coding. But if you think about it, even the programs and the technology you use are starting to require you to do a little bit of that coding in the background. Microsoft Excel is really like doing coding. You're using functions. Much of the video editing software, things that we use day to day, are starting to be more technology embedded. So learning coding is a great way to get yourself into a technology job. Very often we're also asked, what language should I learn? And just like anything else, get proficient at one thing. And as you get into the working world or later in your career, you'll develop the other skills and learn other things as you go. The most important thing you can do, though, is find a career that really hits your passion. You want to enjoy what you're doing. So think about what you enjoy, think about your passions, and then think about how can that be a career for me? And do that exploration. Talk to lots of people. At iRobot, with our STEM program, we love talking to students about how we use our backgrounds to bring it into the fold and make it into the career that we love here at iRobot. Thanks for joining us for a look at 30 years of our history and that of the robots. It's been super exciting to see all the places we've gone, and of course we don't even know what the next step is. We challenge you to think about what your passion is and how you could join us on that journey with a job in STEM. If you want to learn more about STEM and about robots, please check out our website at iRobot Education, and of course you're always welcome to contact us with questions or how you can take the next step in your journey in the STEM fields.